Well, we're taking it easy and we're feeling fine. Put a little stitching here on Island Time. If you get in a hurry, well, it's not a crime. But won't you come and join us on Island Time?
Hi, it's Lori Millsap and Mallory Bosse here again from Stitching on Island Time. Today we're here for a special episode. It's the end of 2024, beginning of a new year. Happy New Year,
Happy
2025.
New Year.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
Where did this year go?
I know. And I sat down last night to set up my 2025 calendar. So I put stickers on every week all the way through. I have, weekly pages. And when I got to the last week of December of 2025, I had a mild panic attack because the whole year had gone by so fast.
No. You're planning that year.
I know. It was a little overwhelming. I have to admit, I don't know why I do these things to myself.
But you're very well planned.
Yes, I am.
And here, as planned, we're doing a WIP parade.
Yes, so I've never done this before. Of course, we've never FlossTubed until this year.
Right.
And I do usually organize things multiple times a year. I was that school teacher back when I taught middle school that spent most of August in the classroom thinking if I had only developed the perfect system, then I wouldn't be drowning in paper by, the middle of September.
Right.
But that's not the way it works. You're going to drown in paper as a teacher in perpetuity, no matter what kind of system you have in place.
But we don't want to drown in stitching.
I actually don't mind if I drown in stitching.
Oh.
I don't mind, but I do want to at least remember to touch the things I actually want to touch. And so that's the point of this WIP parade for me, is to figure out what I want to work on in 2025. These are not all my WIPs. I have carefully selected 50 in 4 categories that I'm going to set up for the year and rotate between as they're called on my WIP boards or when I've already planned to work on them for the year. But I have them divided in 4 categories. I have SALs, I have samplers, I have seasonals, and I have smalls. So those 4 categories, I have 50 projects here, and we're going to go through them pretty quickly. Not too quickly, I want you to be able to look at them, but I photographed everything while I was ironing and preparing for today so that I would have an album on my phone with where I started the year. I thought that was a smart thing to do, even if we didn't end up filming this video, just so at the end of the year I can compare it to the things I've finished and the progress that I've made. Several of these, there's no way I could finish them,
right?
Even if they were my focus piece for the year. And by the time you've divided your stitching among 50 projects, that's one a week. You're just not gonna finish everything.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We've got the time.
That's right. And please understand that I will not only work on these 50 projects. In fact, I have 3 WIPs going right now that are still laying in the other room next to my stitching spot because they are current projects and I don't consider them WIPs until they've hung around for a year or 2.
Right. They
and
have to malinger a bit.
Right. And these particular WIPs that I've counted out today have very few Christmas projects in them. I noticed that I really only have a couple of Christmas projects that I'm carrying into so-called WIPs, even though I showed you in our last video a stack of things that are Christmas that I have not finished and haven't even stitched on this year. So this has not been the year for much Christmas stitching from me. I've been very occupied with my other things. So it's fine.
And we will be showing none of my WIPs today, mostly because I just don't have that kind of level of organization when it comes to my WIPs. But if you're interested in seeing what I've been working on, you can check out my Instagram.
Yes.
M3Bosse.
M3Bosse on Instagram. I'm Island Time Quilting on Instagram. You can see all the things we're currently working on. I've really enjoyed slowing down during the Christmastide season.
Yes.
I've worked on Kathy Haberman's 60th birthday stitch Christmastide sampler. It's lovely. I got a beautiful stitch from Sherry in my Colorado Cross Stitcher Advent box. I've only opened the first 4 days so far, so that's really fun.
Because it's the 4th day of Christmas.
That's right. So anyway, all that to say, here are 50. Enjoy them. I certainly do. I will probably say more than once how much I love them because I'm not working on anything that I don't love. So we will start with the Sal's pile. The first one up is Sweetheart's Delivery. And I started this. Oh, also I'll warn you, just like this one has a string thread hanging, I stop mid-string sometimes. I did take my needles out of most of them, but not all of them. This is Sweetheart's Delivery. It is a brand new chart. I'm gonna hold it up a little closer and hold it still.
It's beautiful.
It's a brand new chart from Alma Allen at Blackbird Designs. I went to that retreat in October, end of September at Dying to Stitch. And this was our retreat piece. And I worked on it for a while this fall, but this is one of my continuing Sal's that I'm stitching on with a couple of friends who were at that retreat.
All right, so we want to put these together over there?
Yes, I'm going to start another pile. Next one up is hilarious to me, and that's why it's included. This is another Blackbird. This is how much I have done. So Kim Goldman, who everybody knows as Contented Needleworker Kim, chose Thy Love More Strong, as well as another one that I'm about to pull out at the same time when we were at Midsummer Stitch, and I started both. There's my start, but I actually only worked on one. So this is a stitch by Blackbird that I do plan to get back to.
And it's lovely.
This year. I love it so much. I just had, and it's still in the frame I put it in,
yeah.
scroll rod.
Genius.
Yeah, I just haven't had a chance.
This is a great one.
This one is a little bit of spring. This was the other project that Kim recommended at Midsummer Stitch. So I bought them both, started them both on August 1st. I made so much progress on this one this fall.
It's gorgeous.
And I'm very close to a finish. If I had, in fact, worked on it at all in November and December, I probably could have finished it before the end of the year. But sometimes I don't want to finish things. Sometimes I want to keep working on them. So
because when you finish them, then they're done.
Exactly. So I'm going to have this one on my schedule coming up in the spring and try to finish it, you know, maybe by the 1st of spring.
Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous.
So a little bit of spring. It's also by Blackbird Designs. You'll see a lot of Blackbird. In fact, here's another one.
You might like Blackbird Designs.
I really do. So Strawberry Fields Forever was another one that Kim recommended at Midsummer Stitch, and I started it on August 1st, and this is how far I am. So I got a nice start.
I love that little house.
I love it. You can see that I start at the bottom. Sometimes when I start new projects like this I mean, literally until July, I didn't even know this chart really existed, so I had no plan to start it. So I try to start them all in different spots so that I can enjoy different aspects of them. That's something that Samantha, the Huga Stitcher, does with her Mirabilias, and I have thought,
Genius.
you know, yeah, that's
So
such
smart.
a good idea. So it gives you a different approach to the projects, and then they're a little different each time you pick them up.
And we haven't been saying anything about the fabric or the count.
I carefully wrote that down, and I have blown it not saying that. I'll catch you up real fast because I have each project I have written down exactly what it's on. So Strawberry Fields is on 36 count Cafe au lait from Fiber on a Whim, and it's a lovely color. I do like it when people say that because you get a sense of
The scale of the stitches.
Well, which projects you might want to do on that ground color.
Right.
I think that's the important thing. I remember I watched one of Holly Neal's videos and thought to myself the whole time I was watching Hobbies of Holly is her channel. I need to write that down. I've never used that color. I've never used that color linen. Oh, I don't even own a piece of that linen. And so I literally have one of those little books where you record things you see on FlossTube. And I think I wrote down like 8 colors of fabric to buy that day.
So do we need to back up a little bit?
I think I can just tell you
Okay.
that before that, a little bit of spring was on 40 count Furley by Needle and Flax. Thy Love My Strong is on Patriots Brew from R&R, and Sweetheart's Deliveries on Abecedarian. And most of the time I'm on 36 count. That's my sweet spot. So 36 count routinely, and occasionally I'll throw in a 40 or 46. For example, this is Anniversaries of the Heart, which I showed you last month. And so it's got 12 booklets, but here's January, February. I'm going to let Mallory hold that. And here's where I am with that invisible border that we talked about last time. I still haven't chosen how to solve that problem yet. I wanted to get more of the house and the peacock and everything in. And you see I've made a good bit of progress since our last video, getting the center parts in there, but I still am not sure. I'm probably going to pull out that white border and put in, I know.
I love it so much. It doesn't film well, and it is difficult to see, but when you get up to it, the stitching is so delicate.
It is.
And it really reads like snow.
It's beautiful,
like it's
but
lovely.
it's just too similar to my linen, which is, like I said, it's 46 count Sleeping Bear, and it blends a little too well. So, you know,
well,
I'm going to do something to solve that problem just because it'll make me happier in the long run.
sure. And you as the artist need to be happy with it.
That's right.
That's important.
So next up is his eyes on the Sparrow. Tomorrow is the 29th of December, and so I will work on this tomorrow and probably for the rest of the month. But I love this piece so much. It's on 36 count Dirty Teacup, which is, as Laura says on Brenda and the Cereal Starter, like magic fabric. It stitches so beautifully. Your needle just flies. And I started this on February 29th of 2024. And so all of this work has been done this year, and there's actually a little bit more on the back that you can't see, but I just love it so much. And of course I have the entire other half of this sheet of fabric to accomplish, but I love it. It's a beautiful sampler. It's by Heartstring Samplery. And Beth said at the Jingle Ball that she has planned a third piece. Like, this is the companion piece to consider the lilies, which I haven't started yet. But she has a third piece this size planned.
Sorry, that's me.
Okay. To come out either this year or next. I don't remember at market. So.
Yes, and Beth, I gotta tell you, her reaction was hilarious. She went, "Oh no, I need it."
I know. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but obviously I need it.
I have to get that
And it is my goal. I started this on Leap Day. It's my leap year SAL, and I haven't been giving you the names of the SALs these go with or the hashtags, but I will put that in the show notes if you want to check below for what the hashtag is for each SAL. But anyway, that one is one that I hope I can finish it in 2 years. So by next year's WIP Parade, be very close to a finish on it, if not finished, so that next February 2026, I can start Consider the Lilies and finish it in 2 years, so that in the 4-year period, I will have finished both those pieces. That's really my goal. I don't think
those are huge projects.
They are huge. They're 50,000 stitches though. So for those of you who do full coverage, I'm sure that doesn't
That's nothing for you.
Right, doesn't sound like. And it's such a dopamine hit when you finish each little motif. I do enjoy that. That's one of my favorite
bird.
things.
I just made this bird.
Exactly. Speaking of birds,
Uh-oh.
Ducks in the Orchard is next, and I didn't take it out because this is what I'm currently working on. So this is my Elan lap stand. This is my duck friend. That's Howard.
Howard the duck.
Of course it is. So here's Ducks in the Orchard. I am not finished with page 1, which is the goal that we set for this SAL, to be finished with the first page by the end of December. So I've got a little bit more to go. But I plan to work on it in the next 3 days. And maybe I'll finish page 1, or maybe I'll be working on page 1 on New Year's Day, and that's perfectly okay.
That's fine.
So A lot of people treat sals as more like start-alongs than stitch-alongs. And on some of them, that is how I treat them. But for Ducks in the Orchard, I set up an island time pace so that we could do half a page a month and finish it by January of 2026. And so I'm kind of trying to stick to that. Half a page gives you some flexibility. Like February's page is going to be intense because it's almost solid coverage. It's the house that we're building in the middle of the chart.
Right, and it's all those bricks.
All those bricks. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fun to stitch, but it's going to be a lot of stitching in February. So if you have to spread that on into March and April, then that's okay too. Okay, and Ducks in the Orchard is on 36 count Mackinac fudge. Mackinac fudge.
I just love the name of that fabric.
I do too. And also from Needle and Flax. I love Needle and Flax, and I use a lot of her linens. Whilst Iris Naps has this chart married Gypson. I guess while technically it wouldn't have been a sal, but I was watching Carol Saltbox Stitcher. She showed it that she had bought it as part of the Homespun Needle Art group. I didn't buy it then. I was exercising limited self-control at that point. But Carol said, but now it's available to everyone on Whilst Iris Nap's website, so you can go download it right now. So I paused the video and went and downloaded it right now because, you know, we do what Carol tells us to do. And so then my friend Beth, Red Cross Stitcher, said she would stitch it with me. And so we are saling this. You are welcome to join us. I've made good progress on it, but
it's a big one.
It's a big girl. That's right. And so I don't have any specific goal for Mary Gypson.
And this is Maple Bar?
This is 36 count Maple Bar. That's from Cedar River Linen and Designs. So it's just a beautiful,
so warm.
It's a very warm color, and I thought it would look nice. There's a couple of red houses on this, so I thought it would look really good with the red houses.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's going to be so pretty.
And then, okay, this one's Tara's fault. Everybody has, you know, like all my sals are somebody else's fault. I join in. But so Tara, who is Sully Stitches, just had her WIP parade, and it's fantastic. Tara's got to be one of the most productive stitchers on the planet. She has years and years of stitching experience, so whenever she does a show and tell, man, it's like, you know, dozens of pieces by each designer. It's really great. That's awesome. Last year on her birthday, which is April 6th, just before my husband's birthday. See, I don't actually memorize all your birthdays, but I did hers. She chose Vibrant Flowers by Kathy Barrick as her birthday stitch. And so I ordered it and jumped in to do it with her. And I did not get it finished yet, so it's still a sal for me.
It's so pretty.
But it's very pretty, and now I'm at that house and a lot of fill work, and so this one's stitched with NPI, which is probably my very favorite fiber to work with.
It's silk,
I don't know. Right? Yeah, it's silk, and it's tied, I guess. I love between NPI and Vicki Clayton silks. Basically, silk is such a joy. I just absolutely love stitching with silk.
But Vicki Clayton's the one who did the silk conversion for Ducks in the Orchard.
Right. So my Ducks project is in silk as well. So a few of these are in silk. Most of them are not, though. So anyway, this is Vibrant Flowers. Oh, it's also on a Needle and Flax linen. This is Thornfield, and it's 40 count Thornfield because I bought the kit directly from Rachel at Needle and Flax. So she had everything all together, and that was really nice. Okay,
here we go.
So the next WIP is not a WIP yet. I'm starting this on January 1st. So technically it's a new start. I have 2 projects out of all 50 of these that are really new starts, but I'm committed to them. And so I'm considering them WIPs, and they're part of the ones that I wanted to put on my WIP Go boards, and I wanted to make sure I got to them for at least a week this year. Right. But Savior's Praise is going to be stitched on a 40 count piece of flax, and also with HDF silks, with Vicki Clayton silks, which I've never put on floss drops before.
Oh yeah.
I've always worked with them from the bobbin. But this time for Savior's Praise, which, you know, is just this beautiful chart from Shakespeare's Peddler, I thought I wanted to go ahead and cut them and put them on floss drops, and I cut them a little shorter than I cut DMC because it's silk, and you know, I usually work with a little shorter strand. And so I think these are 15-inch pieces, and I've got it all kitted and ready to go.
And these colors are gorgeous.
And they're beautiful, and it's my New Year's start. And then Beth, Red Cross Stitcher, and I are going to start this one on January 1st, but then we're going to use it as our Sunday stitch, our Sabbath stitch for the year. So I will get to work on it for a lot of Sundays, hopefully every Sunday, but we'll see how that works out.
I have not picked a Sabbath stitch because I dedicate my Sunday stitch work to the shawls that I make for our church's prayer shawl ministry.
Yeah, Mallory does so much crochet and knitting that she really does need those Sundays, you know, to kind of just have yarn in her fingers. So,
But I get a lot done that way.
that's right.
Produce
That's
a lot
great.
of shawls.
And this is my last stitch along that I'm currently involved in, or that I'm going to continue in to 2025. And this one's just sort of humorous. First of all, I won this chart from Katie Strachan on her FlossTube channel.
Oh, that's cool.
She did a giveaway where she had bought this at the attic, and then she gave it away, and I won it. And when I'm watching her video and saw my name called, I couldn't believe it. This is Sarah Stewart Hardman.
This is when you had to back it up a couple times.
I did. I rewound and listened again, and then I rewound and I made Mallory listen to make sure I wasn't imagining it.
Because you know how for those drawings, sometimes they'll say, and the winner is, and you automatically fill in your name, just hoping that it'll be called.
Yeah.
And then you feel like, did I hallucinate? Did she actually say my name?
Exactly. So Sarah Stewart Hardman, 1824. I originally thought, well,
Can I show
I'll
this side?
try to finish it in 2024, and it'll be 200 years later. That did not happen.
That's okay.
But that's okay. But I did get a nice start on it. And so the reason, it goes this way. The reason I consider this one a stitch along is even sillier, though, than the fact that I won the chart free. Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher, chose this as her birthday start last year. And so for 2025, every time I watch a Sweetwater Stitcher FlossTube, which I watch routinely every time she produces one, I'm going to work on Sarah Stewart Hardman while I'm watching her video.
Fantastic.
So I know it's going to get at least as many hours work as Jessica produces videos in 2025, because I do tend to watch her every time she comes out.
And that really will feel like you're stitching along
Exactly.
with Jessica. You can
That's
hear
right.
Jessica. She's talking to you
Right,
while you're
and
stitching
so
this.
it's her birthday stitch. So Jessica, my challenge to you is, why don't you pull out Sarah Stewart Hardman and work on it every time you watch us? Because
Ooh, that's
then
good. Yeah.
it's not a lot. It'll be 2 hours a month. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
But at least you'll make some progress on your birthday stitch, and you can keep her out all the time. So there you go. This is Sarah Stewart Hardman. I started at the bottom because I love all these sheep. They're so wonky and weird. And the little ones are even worse. They're over 1. I don't know if you can see here. I'm going to hold it up a little closer. But there are these little tiny sheep in there that
are they supposed to be lambs?
Probably. But they're over 1, and they are just awful. But I did choose, this is 38 count graham cracker. Tea set is the color. So it's very grungy and mottled and old, which for historical samplers, I kind of enjoy, having some of that. And so I've been working a little bit on the sheep and the grass, and then moving to the border, and then, but this was my third start on this particular project. The first piece of linen I pulled out was labeled 40 count, and it was actually 36 count. And on 36 count, it wouldn't fit on a fat quarter. And so I got all the way across and didn't have enough room for a margin. And so then I tried again, and it was still not big enough on the piece so I got this piece that was a fat half. And I stitched the whole border and then cut it down. And that worked as a great option to make sure it would fit. So those are my sals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 sals that I'll work on in 2025.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Are we moving into seasonal or samplers?
I think I'm going to do samplers next.
Samplers.
I have many samplers that are already WIPs that I would like to work on. Now, you notice several of my stitch-alongs are also samplers.
Right.
Honestly, some of my seasonal pieces are also samplers. So it's weird to divide.
You like samplers.
I do. But it's weird to divide these into categories, you know, where this is samplers. And some of these samplers are seasonal. So anyway, there's a lot of overlap. Just go with me on my categories. It's fine.
We're along for this ride.
That's right. All right. So first up is a bit of spring, not to be confused with a little bit of spring.
Oh, no.
Which I just
Let's
had
not confuse the two.
in my previous. So this is from Blackbird Designs Ooh La La book. I finished one of the samplers. I have it framed in the living room as my blessing sampler. This Two Birds sampler I finished and just turned the page literally and went, oh, I think I'll do this one too. And so I picked this up and started it. It's on a piece of 36 count marbled hazelnut
Oh, I
by
love it.
XG Design. Yes, I loved how grungy it was. That's my favorite. But what happened was I got a great start on this, and I have the call for floss and everything's going well and it's beautiful. And I glanced back at the chart and noticed there's no Z.
No Z.
Look, the Z is missing. Flip it over and look at it.
WXY.
Flower pot.
Oh.
So anyway, I stalled out because then I started thinking, well, maybe on that next row I need to move it up and shift it so I can fit a Z in. Maybe it can be XYZ on that bottom row. Maybe I can eliminate a bird and put a Z in. Anyway,
It's going to take some modification.
I haven't problem solved that. But I am going to keep working on it. And maybe what I'll decide to do is what everyone should know. Is Alma's right, and just do what Alma tells you to do. Blackbird Designs are gorgeous, and you should just make them the way they're designed. But we'll see.
It's not like your name starts with a Z or has a Z in it.
I know.
I know.
I know. Okay.
It's the OCD of us, though.
That's right. My
Yes.
second sampler is My Heart Can Rest. I actually started this one on my birthday this year, along with The Winter is Past, which is a piece that I finished this year, and another piece that's coming up, Thistle House by Plum Street. And so I'll show you that one in a minute. But I started 3 because I had them all kitted and I couldn't choose. So I made a good bit of progress on this one. It's on 36 count sugar cookie from Color and Cotton. It's not a very big sampler, but when I was choosing what to work on, I would work on The Winter is Past more frequently than I would work on My Heart Can Rest. So it's just a matter now of continuing to work on it and finishing this one up. So I really like it. I like the acid green in there. That's one of my favorite parts.
Question.
So-
Are you working with Color and Cotton floss? Cotton floss?
I think I kitted this one from my stash, yes.
Okay.
So I
Just curious.
think...
I didn't know they made linen. Like, I've seen all the Color and
Oh,
Cotton
yeah.
flosses before, but I didn't realize they had their own fabric line.
Yes, they do
See,
have
I'm
dyed
still
fabric
new here,
too.
y'all. Sorry.
Yeah, they do. And so I'm not in their linen club. I've been in their thread club, but whenever they would advertise that they had linens available to order, I would place a pre-order. And so I'll probably do some of that again this year. I'm still not in their linen club, and now their thread club has gone away.
Oh.
But that's okay.
Bummer.
So this is Florence Law by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This is my first and only hats sampler that I have underway, and this is how much I have done. And it's so embarrassing. So it's on 36 count hog bristle, which is a lovely piece of linen from Fox and Rabbit. And I'm stitching it with 12 weight sulky cotton thread on a spool.
Okay.
So I started this one with my BFF Joyce at the beginning of the year when we went on our retreat in January. We decided we would work on this one, and then I haven't worked on it anymore, and I don't know if Joyce is finished with hers. I forgot to check, but I do want...
Hit us up, Joyce.
I think this is going to be my blessing sampler for January.
Oh, nice.
So I think I'm going to knock this one out first of all.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I've got such a big start. It'll be easy to finish. But honestly, I enjoy having a red sampler on the go. And this year was so busy, I didn't keep doing my one red thread before bed kind of idea. And I think this year I will try to do.
That's adorable. Who came up with one red thread before bed?
I don't know, but she's a genius.
Okay.
So anyway, it's a great way to make good progress on, you know, on your red samplers.
I love red work so much.
Yeah, yeah. And I bought a stack of these little girl samplers at our day of stitching that we went to in November from my good friend Carol, who is Fiber Antiquities on Etsy.
Check her out. She has wonderful things.
She does. And so I have, I think, 5 more hats samplers. And again, I never bought anything from hats before Florence Law, and now I have a few others to choose from. So once I make some progress on some of these samplers, then I'll probably start a couple more. Why not? Okay, then we hit my 4 Crochet A Go-Go samplers that I've started. They're all seasonal. This is the spring sampler that I started this year. It's on 36 count coffee stain from Cedar River
Oh,
Linen.
I love your start on this.
And it's gorgeous on this dark color.
I
like
love
that's I really wanted to do it on the darker coffee stain linen because there's so much white in these samplers. First of all, I love these seasonal samplers from Crochet A Go-Go because we live in a big white house. And
it's perfect.
I think these will look beautiful in my foyer when and if I ever finish any of them. But as Narissa says, a stitch at a time will get it done. So spring sampler is on my WIP Go boards for this year. I hope I'll make a good bit of progress on her. When I started it, we were traveling and visiting my mother-in-law. And so I literally worked on this in a waiting room getting a car repaired. So that's how much I've had done.
Well, and that is okay.
That is
It's a
okay.
very sweet little bird to start off with.
That's right. And then here is Autumn sampler.
This one's my favorite.
I love it. It is on 36 count slate from Fiber on a Whim. And I do love that I've chosen very different ground fabrics for each of these. This one I enjoy because of the way it's modeled and the dyeing. Like I think when I get up to that white house, it's going to look like a sky back behind it. And I just really love that. But, you know, these samplers from Crochet A Go-Go have this great busy border.
Right.
As well as the adorable animals. But the borders are intricate enough that you can stay occupied stitching those for a long time.
Yeah.
So this one's Autumn.
It's my favorite. Oh, I didn't realize they had a Halloween sampler. Oh, I
Yeah.
might need to change my favorite.
Okay, so the Halloween sampler was on my January WIP Go call. So
that's weird.
I am working on Halloween sampler for a week this month. I did, when I worked on it in October, get the entire border in, except for some reason, this one little straight section over in this lower corner. But I think because I decided on actual Halloween, I stitched that owl while we watched Agatha all along. And so I wanted to get one, you know, character in there. So I will see if I can get some more border done this month and whatever else I feel like stitching on in the rest of that.
It's so weird to be stitching something that's Halloween in January.
I know. Y'all, I said when it pulled the sampler, the charts that it pulled for this month, and I'll show you the other ones that it pulled as well, but I said it's really tackling my seasonal affective stitching disorder because I just stitch super seasonally. And so we'll see, like if I pull out Halloween, I'm changing my WIPs on Wednesday. each week to hit the new WIP Go call. So on January 1st, I'm actually starting a WIP as well as stitching on Savior's Praise. And then each Wednesday after that. So if I work on them on Wednesday and that's all, I will not be surprised. But I'm going to at least give it a try to work on them for a week. We'll see. Last but not least is Winter Sampler. This is the first one that I bought, and I can't remember if I bought it before or after Chris, the camping stitcher, talked about it. Like, she influences me a lot to buy things that I need. And so she finished hers. I did not. I mean, you know, she's amazing. But I got a lot done on Winter Sampler that first winter when I was stitching it. And I think it was winter of 2022 when this one came out. But so I think I've had it a couple of years. This one is on Cedar River Linen Overcast. Oh, and I didn't mention Halloween. So Halloween, I put it on Lakeside. It is on Vintage Sand Dune, which is a hard linen for me to find, but I did it on purpose so that I would not hesitate to go back to it. I don't know if you ever try to, you know, like trap yourself with the beautiful things that you're touching.
I mean,
but that's what I do.
Any way you can trick your brain into being excited enough to pick it up and work on it, right?
But honestly, every WIP I've mentioned so far are all things I love. So I'm going to work on them as soon as I remember to work on them. So the problem is when you get this many and get to be my age, you know, remembering them all. All right, so that's winter.
Fantastic.
The next one up, I know exactly whose fault this is, because Laura from Brenda and the Cereal Starter posted 2 samplers in a row on the same day that she was so excited about, and I had never heard of either one of them. And I went immediately and downloaded their PDFs and loved them both so much. So this is Ann Taylor from Heartstring Samplery.
Oh, that's
now,
gorgeous.
if you don't have this PDF, you should go get it. It is lovely, and you can change the colors to whatever you want. I'm stitching it the colors that Beth designed because they're my colors, like as soon as I opened it. But the whole design is my heart, man. It's just this beautiful, stylized, I love it. Anyway, there are only 6 DMC flosses in this whole chart. And so it's super affordable. You know, no reason not to stitch it. The PDFs, I think $10. So if you've got a piece of linen or Aida in your stash, 6 DMCs. I mean, this is a gorgeous chart. It's on, I put it on 36 count Lollybrock from Tabby Cat Linens because I loved this grunginess.
Yes.
But a comparable one would be Brea by Needle and Flax, if you were going to use the colors that Beth has charted, I think. But, you know, you do you. You do whatever colors you like. Brighten it up to red if you want instead of the rusty stuff and the greens. But I love this chart so much. It's called Ann Taylor.
What's fabulous about having a limited color palette, only 6 flosses, is that you can really be creative and substitute all of those colors if you want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want this to match my living room and color it appropriately. You know.
Sure. Absolutely. And then this one, Laura loved this one so much. It's Only Once a Home from Samplers and Stitches. She loved this one so much she fully finished it in a month. Okay, Laura is the serial starter for a reason. She does not finish samplers very frequently. She starts them all. She finished this one and she framed it. So I meant to look and see which episode of Brenda and Laura she shows it, but I screenshot those and just sat there with my mouth hanging open. Now, I started it about the same time she did, but I started both of them, and I think she downloaded Ann Taylor and probably didn't start it because she so fell in love with this one. But this is Only Once a Home, and I'm about 70% complete on this one. I got a lot done. So this is another one that I think I can finish within the week whenever I pick it up as my WIP.
Right.
So I'm excited about having this as a finish in 2025. It is lovely. I did kit this one from Stash. It's on 36 count boardwalk from Color and Cotton, and I chose all Color and Cotton floss to match the colors that were called for, but they do seem to be a little brighter. You know, having looked at Laura, who used the called for floss, hers is a little, I don't want to say, it's just a slightly different coral. It's a slightly different rust, you know, so, but I love mine. I think it's turning out really nice on this ground fabric, and it's so pretty. This house is so much fun to stitch, and it's fence. I mean, you know, 'cause
I love it.
I mean, who doesn't love stitching a picket fence, for Pete's sake? You barely have to look at your chart. It's great.
That is nice when
Right.
it's a nice repetition.
Oh, and so it also comes with a mattress pin cushion and a little pin pillow. And I think there's like a scissor fob. It's got 3 little smalls. So when I uploaded it into Markup RXP, I uploaded just the sampler in one and just the smalls in another. So I haven't started any of the smalls, but I think when I finish this sampler, I'll probably keep the floss on a ring and keep the kit going and go ahead and kit up one of those smalls to stitch.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And it's so nice when you're able to just grab motifs from the sampler and turn it into a small.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. Okay, so this was my New Year's start last year. It is Joy Be Thine by Jeanette Douglas. I was going to a retreat in April. I did go to a retreat in April with Jeanette Douglas. And so I started this thinking that I would get it finished before I saw her. I got a nice start though, and it's very beautiful. It's on 40 count old stationery. What I discovered while I was there is that my old stationery is so dark and so green compared to the old stationery she used, which was really a more beige sampler color.
So it's just
sort of
dye
see.
lots?
So it's just dye lots, I'm sure. But I'm content with mine. And I also kitted mine at Dying to Stitch at the retreat there in the fall, that first year that I went. And I kitted with my own choices of Gloriana. I pulled what they had if they had the one that was called for, but when they didn't, I sort of went my own direction with the reds.
Sure.
So I've got that rustier red, which is my favorite again. And
It's almost manor red.
yeah, it's a little rustier than that.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I just love it. And
And you
so
did your classic change the color on the L and the M.
I did. I put the L and the M there in blue instead of the brown that the rest of the alphabet's in. And so I have a good bit to go, but I'll enjoy working on that for another week this year, maybe more.
Maybe more.
Okay, we showed you this one last month because it is a Christmas piece to me, but it's also a sampler.
It's got a needle in it, so be
And-
careful.
oh, yes, it does. So several things I was kind of in the middle of and didn't want to finish them off. So this is This Happy Morning. I am hoping to work on this for at least a week, maybe 2. I don't know that I'll finish it this year, but if I get in the Christmas and July mood, maybe I'll work on it then as well. So
Yay! Is my favorite.
I know. I do think all of that over one is going to be so much easier for me now than it was when I was stitching that 2 years ago, that I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
Nice.
Okay. So Jane Thompson was a kit from the Homespun Needle Art group on Homespun Needle Work group on Facebook. And it's on 46 count Sleeping Bear with 103 silks. And it is so delightful. I've been stitching it in hand and using 103s and using number 12 beading needle to stitch with, which is a long, thin, it almost feels like you're stitching with a human hair. So fine. And I feel like such a dainty little lady when I'm balancing. I know it's ridiculous. As I balance a single stitch on the tip of my finger to stitch in hand, it's the craziest thing. So I do hope I can make a lot more progress on this. I worked on it very hard when I first got it and got a lot laid in. You know, it's a beautiful chart and the colors are so bright. And
They really
I
pop.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So I do hope I'll make a lot more progress on that
And that
one.
one's also on Sleeping Bear. You had another project earlier that was on Sleeping Bear too.
Yeah, I bought a second piece of Sleeping Bear
Because you liked it?
because I liked it, and that's what I put Anniversaries of the Heart on.
That's right. Okay.
Okay. So this is Love Your Family by Teresa Kogut. I have this one in my Markup RXP on my iPad, so that's why I just brought a cover sheet. But it's in the booklet, Let Love Rain. So if you're looking for this, it's in Let Love Rain. And I'm about halfway.
Only halfway?
Because of the solid stitching, I still need to fill in behind the words. And then there's a boy and a girl there on that hill that are solid stitching as well. And then there's a little bit more to do in that basket. But, you know, and I'm stitching this with the Vicki Clayton silk conversion. And I'm using 2 strands on 36 count linen. I thought because it's Teresa Kogut and because it's so solid, that I would need 2 strands to get the kind of coverage that I wanted.
Right.
And it has worked well.
Good.
I think it would have been fine with 1 strand. It would have looked a little more delicate, but the Vicki Clayton silk is a breeze to stitch on 36 count with 2 strands. It just nestles right in there.
Do you fold your floss and do a loop
I
start?
don't.
No?
I pull 2 strands
Okay.
of silk. Yeah, I want the grain of the silk to stay in the same direction.
Oh, sure.
you
Okay.
know, so-
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do so much with just DMC that
Sure, and we love DMC, and
Right.
this would have been beautiful in DMC, but I was going to do the Let Love Rain sampler, which I UFO'd. I decided after about 15 hours and about 2-inch section that giant sampler was going to take me the rest of my adult life, and maybe I'd have to take it to Jesus. So I decided that I would UFO it and work on this much smaller piece instead. And so I started this one on our anniversary, I think,
Yes.
in 2022, maybe.
I thought it was 23.
It was probably 23. And then I've just worked on it for 2 years. Yeah, that's about right. So if I could finish this by our anniversary on May 17th, that would make me very happy.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll see.
This is one of those pieces, though, that every time you pull it out to work on, it has preached to me.
Oh, I know. Yeah, this
Because it's
Mother
so
Teresa
sweet.
quote is perfect. I mean, you know, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family, is the way we all learned that during the pandemic.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, the staying home and loving your people is so important. And then this was a homespun needlework. Are you seeing the thing? Kit that I got. It was one of the first ones that I got from Homespun Needlework. Not the first one, but one of them. It is called a Sampler for All Seasons. I love it. I got it on Ada. That's how long ago I got it. Because I thought, wow, that's huge. I'll never finish it on linen. I need to get Ada so it'll go fast.
Right.
So this is 18 count.
I'll hold up one side.
Yeah, and I don't remember. Oh, Steinbeck. So this is Needle and Flax Ada, which she dyes Ada. You know, you don't
It's
have to
beautiful.
just get linen from her. And I love it. I think it is a beautiful piece.
Everything is very crisp.
I intended to start it, to work on it, beginning on the first day of each season. So I started it on the first day of autumn. I just remember that I worked on this first. And I laid in the whole border, and then I filled in autumn first and winter. And then I got a start on spring and summer, but I didn't finish them inside the season. And then I did a little bit of words, and then I but I'm pretty close. I mean, there's nothing else in this outside border. You know, you don't have to add flowers or anything to the outside border. So it's just a matter of finishing these 2 small little square areas. And then you know how much I love to stitch words. So I'll get the words done pretty quickly.
fast.
And then there's 2 little borders in between there. And so I think this is a reasonable finish for this year.
Yeah, I love that one. And then you don't have to put it up and take it down and put it up and take it down.
That's right.
It can stay up all year.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 that I'm calling samplers. So 11 and 14, 25. I put those 25 that we just went over on one WIPCO board. Okay, so that makes 25 projects that I have all together in both stitch-alongs and samplers. So I put that on a WIPCO board that I called Samplers and Sals. And so since the numbers that were called for January were 11 and 20, then I'm going to be working on my Halloween sampler by Crochet to Go-Go and in January, and Vibrant Flowers, the piece,
spring one?
that spring floral that's actually my Tara Sullivan birthday piece. So the good news is each of those should get a week, and maybe I can finish Vibrant Flowers, and I should get a lot of progress done on Halloween. And so now my second WIPGO board I called Seasonals and Smalls.
Right.
And I have 25 of these all together. So we'll go over the seasonal and smalls, and then we'll be done. So it shouldn't be too much longer.
So we're halfway there.
We're halfway there. Okay, so with seasonal pieces, this is the next new start that I have in my pile. So I have 50 pieces all together, but 2 of them that I haven't actually started yet. And this Home for the Holidays Blackbird, that's this cardinal, is one I have not started yet. But I have it kitted with silk, and it's Gloriana's, and I really want to start it before Christmastide is over. So I have every intention of that being a WIP this year, and I went ahead and put it on my seasonal list so that even if I don't start it before Christmastide is over, it'll be called on my WIPGO board at some point this year.
Right.
So I will get a week of work on it regardless.
I don't know if I'm the only one that when you said Blackbird and it was a red bird, my brain went, but it's Blackbird Designs designed this gorgeous cardinal. And
Exactly.
It's very lovely. It's gorgeous.
And I'm putting it on the rest of that piece of 40 count old stationery from the Joy Bee line. So that's going to be
nice.
great. Feast of Friendship is on 40 count doubloon, and it's one that I worked on for most of the month of November, and I made a lot of progress.
Filled that whole giant house.
That's right. And so this is very seasonal, and I hope to get to it for at least a week during the year. And then again, when I get in the mood for fall, whatever, if it's been called and I've worked on it some more, great. And if it hasn't been called, I'll work on it some more.
And it has this fun acorn busy border that I just love.
I do too.
It's
Yeah,
so pretty.
it's really sweet. I bought Katie Strachan's version of Thomas by Not Forgotten Farms, and I really only worked on it for a couple of days. And so I have Katie's Thomas is on a piece of, I think it's 37 count, and I don't remember what ground fabric she included in the kit, but I got the kit.
Came with the kit.
It came with the kit, and I have the kit plus 103s in Katie's silk conversion, and it's just fun to stitch. So I put it on my seasonal board. So again, the goal on my seasonal and smalls is that when they are called, I will finish them.
Yes.
So that's
a
the
great
idea.
goal.
So that's 25 things that I do hope to finish, plus some of the samplers will make significant progress and might even are small enough to finish. So
I love that it's 25 things in 2025.
yes, that's right.
Very nice.
So this is I Love Fall Most of All by Brenda Gervais. It is on 40 count raw. I love it so much, and I think it'll be very doable to finish whenever it's called. With my luck, it'll probably be called on St. Patrick's Day. So, it's fine.
Doesn't it mess up your mouth at all?
It does. It's horrible. It's horrible. I am such a seasonal stitcher. It's horrible. But
I think I blame you for how seasonal I am.
I'm treating this year's like toothpaste. It's good for me. It's good for me.
Just do it. It's good for you.
Do it. Okay, so this is Summer in the Country, and I started this during the Stitch the Summer Olympics. I needed to stitch something that had water, and so there's my start. And I was telling Mallory about that this morning, that's 1,000 stitches.
That's insane.
Right? So it's on 36 count cream and sugar, and I just was trying to get a significant start. So it's in my markup RXP, and when I got to 1,000, I was like, that's good enough. And holy smokes.
That's a lot of stitches.
I know.
For
And
such a small area.
But it's full cushion. That's the way that works, I guess. So anyway, I will keep working on Summer in the Country as it is called this year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I love this one.
Yes, I just showed this one too. This is Jingle All the Way, Jingle Around the Block by Kathy Haberman. I do still have my needle in there because I don't stitch on big Lugana very often anymore. And so I'm trying to keep my needle handy. But anyway, I don't have much to finish this part.
It's almost there.
And then I have to decide if I'm going to finish it flat or go ahead and make the top and bottom. So I don't have the wool. I have wool that would work. So, but I didn't get the kit. So I just have to decide. We'll see.
It might speak to you the next time it's called. It might decide on its own what it wants to be and tell you.
It might. This is Thankful Harvest by Lori Rippey. I love this chart. I kitted it while I was traveling. It's all DMC. I have some unstitching to do before I can continue on my way. The sunflower is not centered on the top, so I've got to take that middle sunflower off. It's the whole flower.
Well, it looks like the petals are centered. It's just I see.
So,
oh no.
So I'll take that flower out and restitch it and then press on because I've got 2 more flowers to stitch on the outside edges here. And then just a little bit to go. So I might finish this one this year, and that would be the goal. If it's called, I want to finish it.
Whenever I notice something is that off and I'm going to have to do some unstitching, it really unmotivates me to work on it at all.
Absolutely.
So that's something that I need to work on in my heart more than anything else.
So this is a sampler that I had a hard time deciding whether it was a sampler or seasonal. I only work on it during Halloween, so I chose to believe it's seasonal, but I have a lot left to go. So there's no way, I don't think, that I would finish it, but I will make significant progress on it. And so this is Silhouette's Quaker. It is on 32 count Weeks Dye Work Cappuccino, and it only calls for 2 colors of floss. The bulk of this chart is in swamp water with little pops of guacamole. Yes.
I remember you telling me that. The names made me happy.
Yes. So the other thing I am actually considering is taking that ghost out that's at the bottom.
Down here.
And continuing across to the right-hand side, and then adding in my own version of a Quaker border under Count Dracula there, and turning this into a drum.
Oh.
So it is conceivable that I could finish it in a week if I make all those decisions.
Sure, and basically crop out the bottom half of the design.
Exactly, and probably just move up some of that bottom border bit if it fits, like the cats.
Yeah, love those cats.
Yeah.
They're very cute.
So I'm thinking about that. I'm going to play around with it when it's called. It was not called in January, so I do not have to make that decision today.
That's good. I like how you've done your WIP boards so that you're not having to make all the decisions at one time, because my gosh, you just get overwhelmed from the decision making.
Right. So this is O Tomato, and it was our Dying to Stitch piece from Kathy Haberman last year.
I love it.
And I love it very much. It's on 32 count Beach Brew. It's designed to go on a spool. We have everything, just like every kit from Kathy. You always have everything. But the font is over 1. And so that's what has slowed me down, stitching over 1 on 32 count. I can only do it for a little while. So
is it an eye strain?
Yes, and yes. And it's some about the way you have to weave the thread on linen to do over 1. You're not really stitching your normal stitch pattern, so it slows me down.
Gotcha.
But again, I think it's so worth it, and I'm looking forward to finishing it.
Yeah, I love that scroll finish.
This is one of the seasonals that if it's called and gets a week, I don't know that I'll actually get it completely finished, but I should get a lot of progress on it. So
it's very long.
Yes, it is very long. It's gorgeous. It's totally worth it.
It
and
is.
I'm really excited. Yeah. I
Ooh,
think
love this
Kathy
one.
said you have to step up your game when you're going to Dine to Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's a beauty.
And it's good to stretch yourself a little bit.
It is.
To try something you don't stitch that way every day.
Right. This is the piece that we got in Cocoa Beach at our retreat in April. It's called Sunshine Bliss. And I got a really good start when I was there because, you know,
I love that water.
Yeah, and I thought it turned out really nice. So I'm going to try and finish this up in the week that I give it sometime this year. And it's by Jeanette Douglas. And so it's got a lot of satin stitching in there, which I actually love.
We love Jeanette.
Yes, we do. She is precious. And this is on Polar Plunge, which is a color by Fabrics by Stephanie that she did to go with Kathy Haberman's Polar Plunge series of small ornaments.
And I'm guessing they were winter.
They were Arctic animals.
Arctic animals. Yeah, it's a little ironic to have a summer piece on Polar Plunge.
But it's a good color.
I love that. Yeah,
it's a perfect
it's
color
lovely.
for the ground. These are my Prairie Schooler acorns. And so,
If you need help finishing these, let me know.
right. So I have one completely stitched and I have one underway. And then I have all the pieces of
Cut and
linen
serge,
cut
ready to
and
go.
ready to go. So I just want to see if I can get some of these done this year. When they're called, I'll work on them for a week, but I probably will continue. Like this could work on Prairie Schooler Saturday or something that I could finish them out because they're each individually not very large and, you know, ornament size. And when I saw this chart at the Stitching Bee in Green Bay, Wisconsin, she had the bowl of acorns there and they were gorgeous. And I took like 6 pictures and I said, do you have that chart? And she said, yeah, I think I do have a copy. And so anyway, it's
That's
great.
my
And
downfall,
It's,
when
you know,
you can-
got the template to make the leaves that go with it and then the caps for the, so
When you're
anyway.
there and you're able to see it stitched up and the model grabs you, that's my downfall.
Oh yeah, the model is the whole thing.
Yeah.
So this is the gingerbread house from Stacy Nash. I added this into seasonal because I've not worked on it anymore, and I probably won't now that I'm well into Christmas tide rhythm. So I'll just work on this one. It's called whenever it's called and be able to relive the Jingle Ball, which will be super fun.
Yeah, and that video is only going to be live to the end of January though, right?
Yeah, I think we have 30 days, so it's
Yeah.
not even the end of January. I
it's
think it's
not.
like January 8th. That's fine. I think
We followed along.
I
in the
watched it
video,
well enough.
yes.
Yeah. And same with these. This is the Lindy Stitches stockings. So I finished one completely and I have the other 2 cut and ready to go. And I'm keeping that as a seasonal stitch because I would love to get all 3 of these stitched and
they're
then
so
make them all at the same time. And again, Steph's directions are so well written that the video was nice and it was fun to watch during the ball, but I think I won't have any trouble following up and finishing these.
Yep.
And that is all my seasonal pieces. And so here come my smalls.
Do we want to count the seasonals?
I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 of those, which means there's 12 in the smalls, and that includes what I was calling bonus, but turns out when I was ironing them, they're just smalls. They're just not, they don't fit a season so I kind of had, like, my smalls were seasonal smalls.
Right.
That I was pulling, and I was thinking the seasonal smalls would be ones I could finish, where the ordinary seasonal would be ones that I might or might not. But it turns out these are all just small.
Okay.
So the first one is from Jeanette's Trio. It's her 40 count spool, and I did remember the cover picture, so that's it right there.
Nice.
And I have the spool, and I mean that's it in all 3 places. You
Right.
can finish it flat, or you can put it on the spool. And so here's my little start.
I love that all the different finishing methods are there. That's great.
Yep. So here's my little start. So this is from Jeanette Douglas from last year's Jingle Ball, and I'm looking forward to finishing that.
It's beautiful.
This is the Thistle House from Plum Street that I started on my birthday. It is on 36 count Cafe au lait, which is one of my favorite colors.
Oh, no.
I know. And I just didn't keep working on it because I had those 2 blackbirds that I also started on my birthday. So it's not a very big piece, and I think I could finish it in a week without any difficulty. It does have a lot of solid stitching underneath the house, but because of the color of my linen, I might just do the field of flowers without filling in behind them.
Oh,
so I haven't decided, but
that would save you a lot of stitching.
That's right. That's what I was thinking. Autumn Quaker, man, there's no reason this isn't finished. But so since it's not, I put it in my smalls, and you know, it really is just a couple of days of work to get that finished.
And I'm seeing a honeybee Quaker on the back. That's the one that Joyce was working on, right?
It is, yeah, it sure is.
That's cute, too.
I don't have that one. I
love
have
Quakers.
nearly all of the other primrose Quakers, but Mallory
I did the
stitched
Christmas one,
so
and it was
I
so
don't
much
have
fun.
to do that. Here's Big Chicken, Little Chicken.
I love it.
And I love it so much too. And so here's the big chicken in the front that I've got him done, but not all the flowers, I guess her, but not all the flowers behind her or the rest of the ground around her. And then I actually started with the border because this is the part that wraps around that mattress pin keep.
I love
and
it.
so like all Stacy Nash borders, it is not trivial. It is a significant, I mean, this is several days work to get to here, and it keeps going.
And it
like
just
I
keeps
have
going
it, I have it rolled
and
with the
going.
clip, and it's going to be this long.
Oh my gosh.
So to get around the outside of that pin keep.
Sure.
So, and I still haven't started the bottom.
And so the big chicken's on one side and the little chicken's on the other side.
Yes, the little chicken.
The little
plus
chicken looks like that, right?
That's right. Plus some flowers and things. So this is another one that I don't know that a week will do it, but I definitely want to spend a week on it.
And
I
make
love it
significant
very
progress.
much. Yes, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I started it on 40 count Brea. I have a yard of Brea. I bought Brea and Dolly Madison in the spring of 2021. Based solely off of FlossTube because Brenda and Laura said that Rachel was dyeing fabric and that I needed to go ahead and buy a yard because who knew when we were going to get linen again because it was the pandemic and
The panic was real.
right.
Yeah.
I had not at that time even stitched on 40 count once in my life. I ordered a yard of Brea and a yard of Dolly Madison and kept them to pet in my stash for over a year. Well over a year before I finally went, maybe now is the time to cut into
I could
those.
actually stitch on that.
I could cut them, yes. But my Dolly Madison, I actually stitched this year a piece that called for Dolly Madison, and I still didn't cut into it because my Dolly Madison is a more chocolatey brown. It's darker than the ground looked like it needed to be on that piece. So anyway, I'll save it for something else.
It's so funny. The dye lot does change dramatically what color your fabric ends up being, but it is funny how sometimes things just photograph differently
Right.
than they appear in real life.
Well, and so now that I've cut into that yard of Brea, I keep cutting into it. So this is the beginning of Miss Liberty, which is Teresa Koget's piece from the Summer Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So I'm only right there. You can see it. But so Teresa Koget's got a piece in here. There are so many other beautiful pieces in this magazine. I kitted this one from my Color and Cotton stash. And I loved so many things in here, but I thought I'll stitch Miss Liberty before I buy whatever she called the Uncle Sam piece that went with it. So she's got two pieces that are complementary in size. The Miss Liberty that's here on the back, and then a boy, Uncle Sam, that matches. And I didn't buy Uncle Sam. I didn't buy the chart. I didn't start it at all because, you know, sometimes I go, well, you've got this one.
Right.
See how you do with that one before you do something else.
That's fair.
Same thing. Here is
This is
Patriotic
precious.
Tweet. I bought this chart aftermarket. I thought it was adorable. And I did this one with my Color and Cotton stash too. It is on 36 count Thornfield. So this was the rest of the piece of Thornfield from my Vibrant Flowers kit.
Okay.
that I decided, oh, I bet that'll fit, and it does, and I'll be able to get some other things on here too. But anyway, I got a lot of progress on it, and then the summer season was over. So patriotic tweet, it has been called for January.
So you're stitching this in January?
Yes. So I've got patriotic tweet I'm going to be working on in January, and maybe I'll finish it because I actually have a really good start on that.
Yes, you do.
Okay, Jump into Spring is the 4th of the seasonal charts from Jeanette Douglas, and I have not only finished the other 3, they're fully finished little pillows. So this is the only one I have left, and I have a nice start on it. So hopefully when I get to this one, I can go ahead and,
Oh, and it's a lot of fancy stitching.
It's all the decorative stitches at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm not quite done with the flowers in the basket, and I'll get the border in, and then I'll do that fancy stitching. And and then turn it into a pillow. I put this one on the graham cracker tea set. This was a piece of scrap from that.
Yeah.
So
it's beautiful.
Yep, it's a good color.
It's going to be
kind
gorgeous
pinky.
Finished. Yes, yes.
This is my bisque cornu. So here's the problem with this. I've lost this chart like 6 times. I am not exaggerating. I can never find the chart. That's why the whole chart is here and not just the cover page. Because I was like, I'm not separating this chart from this project again. Because I made so much progress on this. This is the top of the bisque cornu.
That's beautiful.
I'm doing this on 36 count cream and sugar, and it's DMC because it's Teresa Kogut. So there's the top, and I knew better than to do just the top, so I also have the bottom started. So I have both top and bottom that I'm working on, but I have not been able to find the chart, and I looked and looked and looked, and when I found the chart, I was like, okay, this is going to be a finish this year.
May they never be parted again.
May they never be parted again. I almost bought another copy. I probably should have. I'd have made more progress than waiting for the 3 months it took me to find it. One of Mallory's Christmas gifts is still lost, so I could hide my own Easter eggs. It's no problem. But this thing got lost so many times, and so now, hopefully,
keep them together.
That's right. I fretted and fretted that I couldn't remember what fabric this was on, and then I saw that I stuck my 1, 2, 3 stitch sticker on here and went,
good job, Past Lori.
Past Lori's a genius. So this is Maker and Mender that I have the Vicki Clayton silk conversion for, and it is on 36 count light mocha. So this is just a solid Zweigart color that you can buy, which is great. And I'm doing the Vicki Clayton silks. And it just is one that I love and don't work on often enough. So it's in my smalls, and when I pick it up, I will finish it because it's not a very big piece, and it's got all the things that I love.
Oh, yeah.
It's by With Thy Needle and Thread. A lot of people have stitched it, and it's just beautiful.
I adore this one.
Oh, sure.
And wanted to stitch this myself, but when I found out Mom was doing it, I was like, oh, I don't have to.
That's right. This is the the Blue Flowers, Magpie, and the Moon. It goes this way. There we go. And I've got it on a piece of 36 count Lagoon from Fiber on a Whim. So I really liked it. It's a more aqua background than the light blue, but I liked the way it looked. And I just wanted a dark enough blue that white moon would show up.
Yes.
So, and I have the call for floss for this one. I couldn't believe it. When I pulled it out to iron it, I was like, oh, that green is really variegated. I don't think I have I think I've got DMC in here. And then sure enough, it's Bullfrog. I've got it in there. So it's just a matter of getting to it. So this is Magpie and the Moon, which of course I started with the intent of giving to my Magpie, but maybe she'll get it, maybe she won't.
Sorry, Maggie.
That's right. Sorry for your luck. This is the other one that's been called for January.
Oh, yes.
It is Seaside Tiny Town. So, nothing like a beach piece for January, but I have this tiny little start. I made some catastrophic error that early on, and I had to fake it, and then I was faking something else. Anyway, at some point I put it down in disgust because I was off, and I'm just going to press on. It's fine. I'm sure it'll work out. I mean, they're little houses all in a row. How bad can it be?
Right? And they're so cute.
And
I love the tiny houses.
I do
all of
too.
them.
I love all the tiny towns. These are by Heart and Hand, Cecilia Turner. I remember we went to Dying to Stitch, and I had just started this, like I'd just gotten it, and Cecilia's trunk show of tiny towns had just been at Dying to Stitch, and Anne said, well, I just put them in my car to send back to Cecilia. Do you want me to go get them?
Yes, please.
Yes, I do. And so I got to hold all the tiny towns that had come out at that time and pass them around and pet them. And it was so great.
There was a lot of ooh and ah.
Oh, and
in the
some
store.
ridiculous pictures of me making all the facial expressions, you know, because I was so excited. So anyway, my friend Kathleen finished hers.
Good for her.
But she did hers on 14 count Ada. I think if I had done this on 18 count Ada, I might have pressed on. But my intention is to put this around a beautiful scissor keep that I bought from Pete's Bee Skeps.
Oh, right, the wood turned.
I have a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of cedar that holds 5 scissors that's supposed to hold this. And I've just been using that thing blank because I've wanted. And then I thought I'd change them out seasonally. You know, I'd do a bunch of them. This is my first tiny town. So we'll see if I get past the first one before I try to do all of them.
But you have a lot of the patterns.
I have many of the patterns. Yes, I do. And then this one is just for fun. It's my last one. I don't remember what linen it's on. It feels like a Fiber on a Whim, but I'm not sure. It's Color Outside the Lines by Needlework Press. And I'm so close. Like, I think I could finish this with just a couple of days effort. So whenever it gets called, or if I need a small, you know, to fill a day, I'm going to pull it out. That's
small.
right. I'm going to get this one done. I just think it's sweet. And again, I just kitted this with Color and Cotton. I think floss. I just pulled colors I liked that looked like the chart. And I like it very much. One of my favorite things to do is to buy these single cardstock, you know, the charts on the back thing. That's one of my favorite sizes to work up, because you can put it on your little stand next to you to stitch. You don't have to flip anything. You don't have to move to another page.
It's all right there. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good size to see. So I am looking forward to getting this one finished. Color Outside the Lines. So what did we say? That makes 12 of the smalls
13
and
of the
13 seasonal. And that gives me another board, my WIPCO board for seasonal and smalls then is here, and I've already marked in January that I'll be doing Seaside Tiny Town and Patriotic Tweet. Okay, so y'all get that right. I've got Halloween, Beach, 4th of July, and spring in January. Whew.
Madness.
I know. So I do hope you guys are already decorating up your January book of days. I'm really looking forward to it. I went ahead and wrote in Savior's Praise as my first start with Seaside Tiny Town that I will also work on because that's a Wednesday. And then I'll get to Ducks in the Orchard because I really want to get going on that second half of page 2, first half of page 2. And then Savior's Praise on every Sunday so I don't forget it. I went ahead and wrote my 4 WIP goes in on Wednesdays. So I've got Savior's, Seaside Tiny Town, Vibrant Flowers, Patriotic Tweet, and Halloween Sampler. And then the 29th is also a Wednesday, but that's when Sparrow comes back into play. And I usually work on Sparrow from the 29th through the end of the month.
I also love that you purposely wrote this in a marker.
I did.
And pin.
Oh, yeah.
So that it can't be erased. You have to stick to this,
That's
Lori.
right. That's right. I did that on purpose. I usually use a pencil. You know, I was a math teacher for a very long time.
And preaches about pencils.
I use
They're
pencils.
important.
Yes, I use pencils for everything. But I wrote these things. So my January plan, I've got Ducks in the Orchard. I've got the Anniversary of the Heart Sal. I've got Savior's Praise and Sparrow. Those were all already up. So that's 4. And then I had room for a sampler of the month. So those were my sals, and I was going to pick a sampler. but I think that's going to be Florence Law. So I think I'm going to do my one thread before bed, work on Florence Law through the month and see how, maybe I'll finish it for my blessing sampler. Maybe I won't. I'm not superstitious.
I'm a little stitious, but I'm not superstitious.
That's right. I'm too Methodist for that. So anyway, that's where I am for January. I hope you guys are looking forward to 2025. I know we are. Thank you so much for following along on this crazy 50 and 25 WIP parade. If you want to comment on which your favorite WIPs are, I would love to know. If you are a seasonal stitcher and like I am, feel free to comment about that. I would love to chat about that. How do you overcome and finish things on time? Any other advice you've got for me on how to approach this many WIPs, or if you can't imagine having this many WIPs?
If you're a monogamous stitcher, please let us know. We need to pray for you. We just aren't. We just do so many things all at the same time. Often with one hand we're doing one thing, with the other hand we're doing another thing.
Right.
So
I've literally listened to a book on tape and watched a TV show at the same time.
While stitching.
While stitching. So that's crazy. I put a lot of my FlossTubes that I'm behind on a watch later playlist on YouTube. And so I hit that watch later playlist to go to sleep last night, because I sleep more peacefully at night when I know other people are being productive.
That's right.
So
yes. Although you do sometimes spring awake in a panic because you haven't started stitching yet.
I do that.
You're behind.
I'm already behind.
I'm
working on it.
sleeping. You weren't even stitching. You were sleeping.
I know. Thanks again for following along. We are looking forward to 2025. We'll have a normal video for you in a few weeks.
It's going to be a great year, you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Happy stitching.
Happy stitching. Okay. I think we froze long enough. And hopefully,
I don't know if that actually works, so let me check.
none of us know. We never know.
We never know. Ugh.